What's going on? This is My Life in the Shop. I'm your host, Donald Washington. I want to bring y'all to this article I found on weed on what they are now putting in weed. I've always suspected this. A lot of people are acting really funny, man. We got a lot of men acting like women. We got a lot of women acting like men. And I've always thought of something, how you could get weed on every street corner and the food is poison. Cigarettes, so many toxics and poisons are in certain cigarettes. And I want to bring y'all the effects of marijuana, which should be very much legal, and why marijuana is still illegal. This is My Life in the Shop. So, first I want to bring you guys on what they're putting in marijuana, which is a horrible, toxic substance. Check it out.
IX5 has learned some pot from Bay Area dispensaries contains a powerful pesticide so toxic, even the tobacco companies won't touch it. Only on 5 tonight, Wilson Walker puts local pot to the test.
Cannot tell by looking at your cannabis whether it's contaminated with pesticides, residual solvents, molds.
Want to know exactly what's in your marijuana?
This particular instrument here is a liquid chromatograph.
Just ask the team at Steep Hill Labs.
We see that cannabis that comes through the lab is often would have to be destroyed in other states.
And that's because states like Oregon, Washington, Massachusetts, and Colorado have either set limits on or banned certain pesticides for use on marijuana. And tonight, we're going to focus on just one of them.
But yeah, so myclobutanil is a fungicide. It's for mildew, molds and mildew.
Myclobutanil, often sold under the name Eagle 20, is approved for use on things like grapes and hops because if you happen to eat some of it, it's considered harmless. But if you set fire to myclobutanil,
if you smoke it, if you heat it, it actually can produce a substance called hydrogen cyanide. Hydrogen cyanide is very toxic to humans.
That's exactly why the federal government prohibits the use of Eagle 20 on tobacco. But remember, California currently has no such pesticide rules when it comes to medical marijuana.
So yeah, people have an expectation that the stuff that they get at dispensaries is going to be safe and clean and well tested. But the fact of the matter is that this is an unregulated environment up till now.
So how much Eagle 20 might you find on California's medical marijuana? Well, we purchased samples from 5 different Bay Area dispensaries. Since not everyone gets their marijuana from a dispensary, we also arranged for the acquisition of some marijuana sold on the street. Then we sent it all off to the lab.
Only one of those 6 had no detectable pesticides.
That's right, just one clean dispensary sample, while 3 more had enough pesticide traces to make them test failures in Massachusetts or Nevada. Now our black market sample, it failed on 9 different pesticide tests.
That's somewhat unusual to have that many hits on one sample.
But if you're thinking the street weed was the dirtiest, guess again, because our last dispensary sample, a product sold as medicine, was far and away the most contaminated, with myclobutanil levels at more than 13 times the amount allowable under Oregon law.
The main ingredient, myclobutanil, of Eagle 20.
But now the clock is ticking for California to come up with its own safety standards. What pesticides will be allowed, at what levels, and how will it all be tested for safe consumption?
There hasn't been the level of rigor applied to the industry that's coming down the pike.
Because as of now, most of California's marijuana is being grown, no questions asked. And the result is plenty of products you would probably rather not smoke.
Yeah, unfortunately, without any regulations requiring testing, it's up to the purveyor whether they want to or not, and it's basically caveat emptor, right? Let the buyer beware.
Is your pot making you ill? For decades, people have been smoking weed without any side effects, but now people are coming down with CHS, or extreme nausea and vomiting, which turns out to be related to the cyanide growers are adding to the weed.
In states where pot is legal, doctors are seeing an increase in a violent illness. Dr. John LaPoop takes a look.
I thought I was dying.
For more than 2 years, Lance Crowder was having severe abdominal pain and vomiting. No local doctor could figure out why. Finally, an emergency room physician in Indianapolis had an idea.
And the first question he asked is if I was taking hot showers to find relief. When he asked me that question, I basically fell into tears because I knew he had an answer.
The answer? Cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, or CHS. It's caused by heavy, long-term use of various forms of marijuana. For unclear reasons, the nausea and vomiting are relieved by hot showers or baths.
The question remains, why is this happening? Is it the nutrients growers are using, the pesticides, fungicides, or other additives? The answer is simple. Somebody is spiking the weed with a killer additive, and it's now affecting millions of people nationwide. And it sounds just like another chapter from the Georgia Guidestones, like how they're spiking the food and water with harmful chemicals. And now they're spiking the weed. It's because THC activates the third eye in people's brains. It opens up their minds to the corruption, to the evil that's around them. The system knows this, and so they're spiking the weed to keep people asleep. Sounds rather perplexing, doesn't it? And while we don't recommend people smoke weed, we know it's now being used to weed out the herd. Major corporations are supplying the additives and chemicals used to grow the weed, and it's becoming a silent killer in its own right. And it's being sprayed day and night, even on cigarettes. Who's going to care if smokers are being poisoned? If you're feeling the CHS, the nausea, and the like, it isn't you, it's the poisons being sprayed on the products you buy. It's no different than the fruits and vegetables at the grocery store. No different than the municipal water supply. We need more transparency when it comes to the additives they're spraying on the products we buy. Help raise awareness. Like and share this.
Yep. Your food that you buy, the food that you buy from the grocery store, the water that you drink at your faucet, cigarettes, and definitely the weed. I've been saying this for years. I've been known this stuff was very much poisoned, and that's a fact. I knew they would get to the weed. Now why, and here's what you won't see. Notice, understand who owns the media. Notice that the only thing when you turn to CNN that this story was missed. If you just blink, you'll miss that story. I found that on social media. That definitely didn't make CNN, MSNBC. If it did, just for a second. I think it came off one of those news stations. But they showed for a second, back to Trump. Back to Trump, Trump. Let me tell you something. America's in business to keep people dying. The less people you have, the less jobs you got to provide. India, China, some of those places got billions of people, and therefore most of them in poverty. We still only have 137 million people here, and India is just the size of Texas. And they got 1.5 billion people. They got 5 times more people than we have, maybe more. Unreal. But I tell people, now weed should definitely be legal. Alcohol is killing 10 times more people, and it's still legal. But they want to, it's their business to keep these privatized prisons, keep certain people locked up and chains for their free labor. Privatize those prisons, keep them, the rest of the population is in prison. Certain people, you can easily control the population. Just give them a drug, arrest them for it. Let it float in the country, help them get it in the country. Cocaine was brought to America by the CIA. If you ever watched American Made with Tom Cruise, watch that movie. That's also a fact. How you think you can find cocaine and marijuana on every street corner? They're bringing it in the country. Watch American Made. CIA brought weed for Pablo, helped Pablo get to a high drug kingpin, and then took him down. They was able to take him down because they've been getting supplied for it for years, bringing it to America, putting it into the ghettos, arrest them, destroy them, then destroy him, and say, we're fighting the war on drugs. Put them in prison, get free labor, problem solved. There you go. There go your population control. However, I say that I always hated weed because I tell people this. Anybody I knew that smoked hella weed as a kid accomplished absolutely nothing as an adult. Weed is a very harmful drug in that aspect. It kills your ambition. You're fine with doing nothing. You're fine with accomplishing nothing. And so therefore, you're fine. Like, okay, I ain't did shit today. So what? I'm okay with it. And that's what marijuana does. That's why I'm so much against it. And it is true, man. I remember as a shorty, man, I used to work 6 days a week, go to school full time, Sundays were my only day off, and if I did see somebody, and if I did smoke some weed, if I did or whatever, you can't accomplish nothing, and you happy. It's funny to you, and that's why I'm so much against weed. It just kills your ambition, but it should definitely be legal. And this is why only certain people are allowed to regulate and have it. Look at Colorado, California. Who's making it? Who's owns the dispensaries? And who are they selling it to? Kill you. Yeah, look at the food, look at the water, look at the cigarettes. Those have been poisoned, and it's only it only was going to be a certain time until they poison that, 'cause they know who's smoking. Mostly. So yeah, it's a damn shame. Weed could be a toxic substance, something that should be so harmless. Pesticides and cyanide. And a lot of people trying to figure out why so many people are dropping from cancer. Because people can't say, oh, you die from weed. No, you don't die from weed. You die of heart attacks. You die from cancer. Why do you think so many people are dropping dead because of cancer? People are dropping like flies. It's an epidemic. It's like damn plague. Everybody's dying because of cancer. Do the math. People are being poisoned. Food, water, grapes, vegetables. You think you're eating healthy? You're not. Everything we eat is poisoned over here. Anyway, I want you to like, comment, let me know what you think about this video. Peace.